Baruch atah, you are blessed. Good morning and welcome to UCOV, the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Venice, not the one in Italy. Each of you is welcome here, and we are delighted that you chose to be with us today. We hope you will take something new, meet someone new, and find something in today's service to take with you into the world. My name is Marcia Smith, and I'll be your worship associate this morning. If you'd like to learn more about UCOV and all we have to offer for our congregation and the community at large, please go to our website at uucov.org or visit our Facebook page. If you're joining online, please know your donations are most welcome and can be made by clicking the donate button on our website. Is there anyone visiting for the first or maybe second time today? Okay. Well, we always, yes? We'd love to hear your name and where you're from.
Thank you. Yes, I'm Steve Gordon. This is my wife, Cindy Vokes. We live over here in Waterford for the past 4 or 5 years, so thought we would come and check it out.
Thank you. Welcome. Thank you for coming. And we hope that all visitors, if they didn't get a chance, will stop by the welcome table in the lanai and fill out a visitor form so we can keep you updated on our activities. Before we start, a few announcements. Please take a moment to introduce yourself to your neighbor. Our announcements this week, games and lunch. The Aberys are celebrating Cece's Forever Day and won't be available. The Crafting Corner meets again on August 10th. Our wish list update. Please notice we have one project paid and funded and one partially paid. If you're interested in learning more about these projects or funding all or part of any of the above, please contact the Finance Committee, Bill Dowling. The small donations add up. Next week's Green Sanctuary Meatless Monday potluck is Monday, August 7th in Waters Hall. All are invited. We'll gather at 5 for social time and dinner at 5:30. Bring an appetizer, main dish, side dish, or dessert to share, and bring your setup and beverage for a zero-waste evening. Sign up on the lanai. Any questions, see Jean Sibbers or Donna Schaefer. Donna, not Donna. Oh, it says Donna Schaefer in my script. Okay, Donna Jewett. And next Sunday, August 6th, there will be a congregational conversation following the service. Please read your weekly handout for upcoming events, and you can also check our website or Breeze. We are now entering into a sacred space. Please silence all electronics. Our service will begin with the prelude. Thank you, Nancy. We light our chalice today with words by Julianne Lepp. We seek our place in the world and the answers to our heart's deep questions. As we seek, may our hearts be open to unexpected answers. May the light of our chalice remind us that this is a community of warmth, of wisdom, and welcoming of multiple truths.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I am Will Esty. My pronouns are he, they. I am very glad to be able to join you this morning. I am an aspirant minister starting classes at Meadville-Lombard Theological School in the fall. And I hope, thank you. If you would like to get to know me, please meet me in the lanai after the service. I'd love to get to know each and every single one of you, though I can't promise that I'll remember all your names just yet. Thank you all for the light and love you bring into the world, and I hope that together we can grow and continue to shape the world for the better. Come and let us worship together. Growing up Unitarian, I was often encouraged to be curious and to ask questions. I can't count the number of times I heard the phrase free and responsible search in religious education. But unfortunately, as it is with many teenagers, I was thoroughly uninterested with those questions, and that the questions that tend to creep up on us as we age just didn't interest me. I had no room in my head for discussions about higher powers and greater purposes. And no, those did not come to me until after I started college, when I had to face them alone and surrounded by strangers. And so I turned to what I was taught, or at least what little of it I remembered. I asked questions. But the thing they never bother to teach you is that the questions you most want to ask do not have an answer. Those capital B, big questions, the is there a God and why are we here ones, those have as much of an answer as who would win in a fight, Superman or Mighty Mouse. And yet, we ask them anyways. So why? In this instance, I am drawn to the words of Chris Gardner, whose autobiography, The Pursuit of Happiness, with a Y, chronicles his life in San Francisco as a homeless worker caring for his toddler son. He says, "It was right then that I started thinking about Thomas Jefferson and the Declaration of Independence and the part about our right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And I remember thinking, how did he know to put the pursuit part in? That maybe happiness is something that we can only pursue, and maybe we can actually never have it, no matter what. How did he know that?" Gardner here and Jefferson, by extension, touch on that same aspect of that fourth principle, that free and responsible search for truth and meaning. Again, the search. Just like that pursuit of happiness, that search is unending. It carries with us all our lives. Our relationship with the divine, whatever it may be, changes and evolves on a daily basis. Surely, we cannot answer these questions because the questions themselves change just as much as we do. And yet, we search. We pursue. Please now rise in body or spirit and join in singing our gathering hymn, number 300 in the gray hymnal, with heart and mind and voice and hand. Thank you. It is always such a joy to hear voices joined together in song. Now is the time we devote each service to speaking to the youth of our congregation, talking about what we'll be discussing in the service after they've left for their classrooms. Today, we're talking about asking questions. More specifically, we're talking about our fourth UU principle. Now, can anyone here remember exactly the words of it? I'll give you a hint. I said it earlier. Thank you very much. We as Unitarians, according to our fourth principle, believe in a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. Now, a lot of those are $15 words to describe a $5 idea. Everyone has the right to figure it out for themselves. I spoke before about growing up Unitarian. To come clean, I wasn't being entirely honest with you. While I grew up in the UU faith, I never really considered myself Unitarian until quite recently. Before that, I never really put much stock in it. I saw my friends attending church less and less, and the only question I really wanted to ask was, why can't I just sleep in? I found it hard to ask those big questions, and even harder to care about the answers. I was dismissive and I was sarcastic because I thought that free and responsible search was boring and pointless. More than anything, I'm disappointed in myself for having such a boring and pointless worldview. Because I let myself stop believing in magic. Not spells or card tricks, but the magic of a really good day. The magic of dinner with your best friends in the whole world. The magic of wonder and joy. I told myself magic wasn't real. And that door is much harder to open than it is to close. Wonder is like a car battery. As long as we use it and maintain it, it will always be full and ready to take us anywhere that we want to go. But letting it sit idle, unused, letting it weather, drains it. Every day, bit by bit, slowly, until eventually you can't even get your car to start. But just because it's hard doesn't mean that it's impossible. Because even on an empty battery, all it takes is one good jump and you're off to the races. Because that curiosity, that wonder, it's built into us at our deepest level. So please, never stop asking questions, even if they're only to yourself, and never stop believing in magic. Please now join me in singing our children out to the words of the Reeb benediction. A very wise woman once said, if I'm going to ask you for money, I'm going to need you in a good mood first. Taking this to heart, I believe that giving is something we should be doing from a place of love and joy. We have an offering each week to remind us of that place, and so that we can feel a part of something more than ourselves. And so, to put you in that good mood, a wealthy businessman sees a beggar on the street corner as he's leaving his office. Dropping $1 in their cup, he offers a smile and a God bless before going on his way. The next day, the businessman sees the same beggar, repeats the process. This goes on day after day for some time until the two have come to find the interaction familiar and comfortable. One day, businessman leaves on an overseas trip for almost a month. His first day back sees the same familiar beggar, still on that same familiar street corner. And as he approaches, dollar in hand and a smile on his face, beggar looks up to him and says, "You owe me $15. So that Amy doesn't have to keep track, today's offering will now be graciously given and gratefully received.
thank you for these gifts given and for everything you contribute to the light and life of this community. The church is not the building, but the people who fill it. As a community of human hands and human hearts, we come together to share our laughter and our tears. We're now entering a time of sharing our joys and concerns. If you have something to share, please raise your hand and someone will bring you a microphone and will light a candle to kindle the flame you carry inside. Also, at any time during the service, you're welcome to light a candle yourself. And finally, please remember to share joys and concerns with permission.
Good morning. My name is Donna Jewett. I just like to light a candle for my sister, who's a couple of years older than I am, and she was in a long-term care facility. Her insurance ran out. She's in 120-degree weather out in Arizona. They literally put her out on the street. And my brother is going down there to see what he can do to get her in like an RV or someplace because she has no place to live. So I just want to light a candle because I don't know what the heck's going to happen to her.
Good morning, I'm Barbara Finn, and I received some sad news last weekend. My brother, Andy Nelson, who was my only sibling, died. Is this on? Yes. Died in Oswego, New York, after about 3 years of failing health. And my sister-in-law never gave up hope and took wonderful care of him. Now, Andy does have a little legacy here at UCOF because he was a botanist and very involved in wildlife preservation and conservation. And when my husband Dave was coordinating the pond project out here, Andy came to visit and helped plant the shrubs and trees that are surrounding our pond. So he does have that connection with UCOF.
Hi, my name is Serena Canarelli. Richard and I are leaving on Tuesday morning and heading north to New York. We're going to spend a month driving around New York, visiting our children, grandchildren, sister, brother, cousins, and then we are flying out of JFK in New York to go to, where are we going? Belgium, Amsterdam, and Luxembourg. So I'm really excited, keeping my fingers crossed that I can get through the whole trip because I've been having a little bit of a rough time, but I'm doing better, feeling stronger, thanks to my husband and a few other people here who've been very helpful to me too. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Nancy Ryder, and I have two things, a joy and a concern. So last week, Dick and I went out to dinner, and actually the hostess was a little rude in seating us, okay? So at the end of the meal, I asked for the check, and the waitress said, well, you don't have a bill. The lady in front of you paid your bill. Now, that's never happened. Well, it did happen once, but years ago. So, okay, as she left, I said, gee, you know, of course, thank you so much. She said, I'm here with my children, and I feel it's very important to teach them to give back and to be kind to others. And we saw that the hostess was so rude to you, and we wanted to show kindness, which Reverend Amy always is talking about. So that's my joy. Isn't that lovely? I mean, really, really lovely for some stranger to do. So I have to remember that. And also, starting tomorrow, I have my second round of immunoglobulin infusions. And they last 5 days, and last time it took 2 weeks to get over the week of having the infusions. So So I'm not looking forward to it at all. And also, at the moment, I don't like being me, and that's that.
We will light one more candle for all those joys and concerns which we carry with us, but that we have not shared this morning. Our first reading today is Found While Lost by the Reverend Eric W. Martinez-Resley, taken from Becoming, a Spiritual Guide for Navigating Adulthood. The beauty of this world is the mouth of a labyrinth, writes Simone Weil. We would be foolish not to follow its call. And so we enter the labyrinth, lured by the whiff of a dream still in the making, the possibility of a new relationship, the promise of a new career, the potential for a new beginning. We can be never sure what we will find once inside. But this much is certain: there will be times when the beauty of the world, and with it the mouth of the labyrinth, unexpectedly disappears. Some relationships will disintegrate, some careers will dissatisfy, some beginnings will disappoint. Unable to find the labyrinth's opening, we will find ourselves out in the process. Disheartened, dispirited, we feel disoriented. We get lost. The question is not whether we will get lost in life, but rather how we will move through it in faith. Will we dwell on everything we have lost, or will we focus instead on everything we have yet to find? As it happens, there is much that awaits us in our lostness, much to be excavated, examined, and even exalted. In not yet knowing what will be, we are afforded the opportunity to appreciate what is. The things hiding in plain sight. A frayed relationship, for example, may reveal our deeper needs. An unfulfilling career may motivate us to seek out a mentor. A misstart, a misstep may remind us of our own fragile humanity. It may claw open our hearts and sensitize us to the suffering of others. When lost, perhaps the greatest question our faith asks of this is this: how will we be found? Once the time is right, the stars align, and the new way begins to open. Will we be ready to embrace the mystery anew? Will we allow ourselves to yet again be drawn in, swept up, taken over by that magic that makes life worth living? In the words of Simone Weil, "For if we do not lose courage, if we go on walking, it is absolutely certain that we will arrive at the center of our labyrinth, and there God is waiting."
Our meditation and centering words come from the poem Prayers and Dreamings by Becky Edmondson Lang. Lang starts her poem with a bow to Yese Barnwell and Stephanie Kaza, quoting their works and taking inspirations from their stories and their lives. She writes, "Spirit within all, mysterious force giving shape to life, miraculous source and river of being, help us to know who we are, to see our place in the history of the earth and in the family of things. Help us to see that we are part of all that ever was, our grandmother's prayers and our grandfather's dreamings, our mother's courage and our father's hope. In our bones lies the calcium of antediluvian creatures. In our veins courses the waters of the seas. We are part of all that ever was. Born of this earth, riders upon a cosmic ocean, we are not separate from nature. We are nature. part of that same Spirit that turned the scales into feathers and bird song into speech. We live by the sun, we move by the stars, we eat from the earth, we drink from the rain. O great Spirit, help us to know who we are and fill us with such love for this holy creation and gratitude for this awesome gift we call living, that we might claim our inheritance and live out our calling to bless the world and each other with our care. Amen. Please join me now in a minute of silent meditation, thought, and the spirit of prayer.
Our second reading is the poem Tehillah by Mark Bellatini. It opens with a benediction to truth offered in Hebrew and unfurls Bellatini's complex relationship with its nebulous nature. He writes, Baruch atah emeth. Blessed are you, O truth, Like the fabled Moses, I too can never claim to have seen you face to face. Too often I've hung my own face on you and pretended that I know something that I do not. Indeed, my most honest heart confesses that at most I have only caught the briefest glimpse of you, at the very edge of my eye, and only when I get out of my own way, my own rush, my own fury. I sense your cool shadow on me when I grow hot from the tears I've been holding back, or when I notice the sadness or whimsy hiding in the silent eyes of those around me. I sense your closeness when I gaze at a star suddenly unveiled by a toreador cloud, or catch an early yellowness in the leaves of the oak. It's then I feel a brush of wings nearby and realize that I am only a small part of it all. Then I know that I am not the great high power of the world, but only a puff of breath hidden amid the mighty blasts of the great whirlwind called the universe. Like a lace wing barely floating on the tip of a small blade of green grass, is my life from beginning to end a short footnote to a vast essay of stars and space unbounded. An essay neither signed nor fully symbolic, and yet this truth, your truth, is no sadness but a joy, no lack but a blessing, like the sight of a child at play, totally absorbed in the moment and glad. Blessed are you, O truth, who plays in this silence, like a child in the waves of an infinite sea. Baruch atah emeth. Please rise now in body or spirit and join in singing our centering hymn, number 293, O Star of Truth.
Earlier, I asked why we pursue answers to questions that have none. Because those big questions, who or what is God, where do we go when we die, and why are we here, have stuck with us for as far back as we can tell. The earliest cultural artifacts we have are the stories we told each other in caves in our first attempts to answer those questions. Stories of beings shaping the world, wrenching loved ones back from death, and stories of people burdened with glorious purpose. Some of these stories, which we are still telling and retelling to this day, predate the written word. They existed in the ephemeral time of early civilization, when the lines between truth and myth were much blurrier, when we were just monkeys sitting in caves, watching shadows dance across the wall and looking for patterns. And what divine patterns there are to be found. Our curiosities have led us to map the world, chart the stars, and plumb the depths of knowledge in every imaginable field. As I sit and write this, I weep with joy for all the passion spent in the pursuit of simple curiosity. Again, that fourth principle, that search. Because we are never content to sit where we are. We may stop to appreciate the view, but inside each of us is that need to move on, that drive, that need to find the end of the rainbow, the X that marks the spot. Like our migratory ancestors, each step we take propels us into new lands, new experiences, and new thoughts. Those same ancient stories were epics, journeys and quests undertaken by heroes we dreamed of emulating one day. We seek the horizon and the light beyond it. We yearn for whatever is next. We search for answers. And so, when the answer to a question evades us, it bothers us. Like the name of a song on the tip of your tongue. It pesters us relentlessly, that uncertainty. We can't ever really let it go because we know the joy of discovery and new understanding. How one answer can cascade into another, and like dominoes, the truth tumbles into us. So it's no wonder then that the divine has driven us for so long. It calls to us like the sea, untold possibilities if only we can reach the other side. Because what greater secret is there than to find the seat of God? Or, perhaps, to find that the chair is empty. But the name of God is unpronounceable, at least for now. Our greatest scientific instruments produce static when we point them that direction. Our philosophy ends up chasing its own tails. Various religions are proof enough of that. How many different myths can you think of someone requesting to see the true form of God and being turned to ash in that instant? To witness the divine is death. We know that it is forbidden ground that we are unable to truly trod upon, and yet we keep searching. So what, then, do we do when plagued with a tantalizing, unanswerable question? We cannot simply discard it like an old hobby, for to stop asking would be the death of the question itself. Instead, we let it live with us, take up residence in our heart, watch us grow, and in turn, we watch the question grow with us. In this way, it's much like a relationship, a balance to be maintained between what we know and what we seek. Because in our darkest times, that light on the horizon that promises to cast away uncertainty can carry us through the night and into such beautiful dawns. Our answer to the divine cannot be static. Immutable stone will only crack with age and crumble into the sand and be lost like Ozymandias in the desert. Instead, it must be a living, breathing thing, one which we feed and care for and will care and feed us in kind. At this point, I would like to take a bit of a step back, as I feel I've let the metaphor get a bit away from me. I do not mean to pressure you into any particular beliefs, just to stoke your curiosity. Because regardless of the existence or non-existence of a higher power, the pursuit of that answer, the search alone, can take you to wonderful places. I don't care if you believe in God or not. Stained glass windows are beautiful. I don't believe if I care about God or not. The hymns that my mother sang to me as a child will reverberate in my bones long after I am dead. I spoke briefly before about my own relationship with the divine. that for a time I cut myself off, convinced myself that those questions are not worth pursuing. Some of that was rebellious nihilism, my desire to put most everything from my childhood into a box and bury it in the backyard, and then move 3 states away. And to be honest, I partly blame that on the church I grew up in. Now, I won't go into details, at least not until after the service, but I felt left down by my bridging service. I had a particularly upsetting conversation with my mentor, wherein they expressed that they thought that anyone who believes in God is stupid. Plain out, that kind of language, anyone who believes it is dumb. I didn't realize it at the time, but that one contemptful, dismissive opinion entirely confirmed every single bias I had, that even discussing faith was a fruitless endeavor. You can imagine my surprise then when I took LSD for the first time and heard God in Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. No one tell my mother, please. I joke, but I did come to a lot of realizations when I was in undergrad. Most relevant, I realized just how boring and empty that kind of an incurious life can be. It's an overused metaphor and makes me feel like I'm pitching a commercial for sinus medication, but it was like I had let the color fade from my life. Because I hadn't just stopped looking for answers. I had stopped looking for wonder. I let things be only what they were and stopped imagining what they could be. I don't want that to happen to anyone else. Whether or not God exists, magic does. It exists in serendipity, in the way that patterns tend to line up, and in the way we learn and grow and build relationships. It exists in art and science alike because those joys of creation and discovery are just as much magic as a unicorn. And each person has the right to find that magic in their life. And I think that's why it still bothers me. I guess it's true what they say, we reject most that which we hate most in ourselves. Because under it all, despite all my posturing and bravado, I still had questions that I could not answer. And to remember someone saying that those questions aren't worth answering is like a slap in the face. To assume that you have more answers than everyone else when we're all flying by the seat of our pants is preposterous to me. We must not let our own egos, our own rush, our own fury, throw away our principles. Without them, we're just a social club with good coffee. We must never be afraid to ask, and we must encourage those around us to ask as well. I did a workshop once with a woman named Claire, who, without fail, every single lesson asked a seemingly mundane, obvious question. At first, I thought she came woefully unprepared, until she asked a question I was working up the courage to ask myself, because I thought it was too obvious, too stupid to ask in front of anyone. I wish I could have her confidence, her courage to so boldly admit her own lack of knowledge, her own wandering in the darkness, and by doing so demonstrate her enthusiasm to learn, her drive to follow that star beyond the horizon and find whatever happens to be waiting there for her, whether it be God or a new hobby. I assume, like many of us, up until then I saw ignorance as a weakness, a flaw to be corrected, hammered out, however violently needed. I saw my own lack of knowledge as a failing, until Claire showed me that ignorance is only the opportunity to learn. So, please, be the Claires of this world. Revel in curiosity and discovery. Approach each day like a child seeing the world for the first time. Take advantage of your uncertainties and use them to propel you towards that horizon. Put the wind at your back and don't stop running until you've found a place worth stopping at. Look for secrets in the little places. Pick up rocks and see what bugs are underneath. Learn a new song. Take up a new dance. And never be afraid to ask questions.
We extinguish the chalice today with words by Adam Slate. Be kind, be brave, be just, be merciful, be hopeful. This is how we keep the chalice flame burning until we are together again to light it anew. Please rise in body or spirit and join in singing our closing hymn, number 20, Be Thou My Vision.
Go now with full hearts, curious minds, and open arms. Question the world around you and question the ways you may improve it. Find those things that others have lost and carry them with you as you continue on this journey we call life. Yom Rishon Shalom. May it be so.